Welcome back to another fantastic episode of Subject to Change.
Episode 20...
I'm not saying it.
What is it? 20, 26? 27? Oakley, fuck off. 26? We're on episode 26.
I told you to just stop saying the number of the episode every episode.
All right, well, welcome back.
Because it's just going to get annoying every time we're like, oh, let me check YouTube quickly.
It is. It's 26. It's 26. It's 26. Okay.
We've made the mistake like 3 or 4 times, and I've had to cut it out.
That's okay. Have you?
Yes.
I'm sorry about that. I didn't know that. Okay, well, welcome back.
Yes.
Let's see if this is going to stay in the pod.
Yeah.
Welcome back,
It will,
guys.
because it is episode 26. Welcome.
Yeah.
How are we going, Daniel? How are we going?
Good, mate. Do you know what? It's good. It's a beautiful day outside. Been for a haircut. Been for a morning dip. Had a shower, got ready, come here, and we've got a nice party this afternoon. I'm feeling good. It's a lovely day. It's a good day to have a bloody good day.
Christ, mate.
Everyone recently is getting into relationships, mate. I'm starting to see this trend, and out of our friends, we're becoming like an extinct creature, mate. We are going to be
really.
one of the few ones left in our group. Yeah, but one of the few ones left in our group.
Your group's annoying anyway.
Do you know what I mean?
Don't care.
If they're listening to this, back off.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, they are. But, mate, we're going to become an extinct breed eventually, you know, in our group. And it's going to be me, you, and Jack left, you know. And, like, it's sad, mate, you know. We don't see so many of our mates anymore because they're all wifey'd up,
and
busy
it's not even
for the
like
next 4
anywhere
weeks.
near winter over here in
Do you
Australia.
know what I mean?
We're in the middle of summer, the height of summer activities, and the man them are cuffed by the wrists, behind the back.
Got to book in now,
If you're into
4
that.
weeks in advance. 4 weeks in advance.
Bit of a stretch. It's not 4 weeks.
Well,
it's like 3.5.
3, exactly. Well, do you know what I mean? I'm like, lads, come on, what's going on? It's sad to see, mate.
How does that make you feel?
Sad, mate.
Yeah.
Sad. Maybe I'll just settle down just for the sake of it.
Does it make you want to be in a relationship?
I'll just settle just for the sake of it. I'll just get into a long-term relationship, be miserable, and slowly...
Why are you sarcastically deflecting the question?
Does it make me want to be in a relationship?
Does it make you think about it?
Sometimes when I see all my mates and they're like coupled up, and I think it's those moments where I'm like, I see people like walking down the beach with their missus, or they're going like to nice places to eat and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I'd love to do that with like a missus. But then, you know, after that moment, I'm kind of like, I'm over it.
No,
you know?
you're not.
But it's just like, it's just those moments. I'm like, it is nice. It is nice.
Can you take your sunglasses off?
I'm not against... Oh, there we go.
It is not bright in here.
I know, it's just quite nice. I'm not against having a missus, but it's just those moments. I'm like,
Oh, you're not?
No, not actually. Yeah, I think
you've opened to it.
I used to be very like against it for me, and I'm like very closed off. Like, no one's fucking coming near me. Leave my puzzle alone. When now I'm
Listen to Daniel's Lost Ones.
yeah. When now I'm like, yeah.
I like how when I changed my frame of mind, you've not changed yours.
Do you know what? You are the 5 people you hang around with, and you take up about 3 of those people currently. So it would be strange if none of what you did rubbed off on me. You know,
I'm saying, to be fair, I've been in a place over the past month or 2 or 3, maybe. Probably around November, where I've been open.
Month or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6
or 7 or 8. We're such good counters. That I've been kind of Jesus.
Sorry.
Like, what's the point of muting if you're still gonna cough like you're a fucking bull?
Thank you, sir.
Over the past 3 months or so, that I've been open to the idea, but whether it happens or not.
Yeah.
We're tendering.
You're what? Sorry.
Tendering.
Yeah. What do you mean you're tendering?
Like you're waiting. Something's tendering.
That's cool. I mean,
Do you
it
not
takes
use
like
that term in
tendering.
in sales.
Tendering. Oh, I think I've actually heard that word in the last week. My mate back home was talking about something. Is it tendering where you put forward like a proposal to get like,
and then the tender is like the period where you're kind of waiting. But yeah, we have a bit of feedback about the pod.
I can't wait to hear how I've been slagged off.
Hey,
You've not told me what this is, by the way. So
no.
Okay.
It came in like yesterday.
Okay.
It was like, hey, your podcast shite. I was like, thanks. So yeah, guys, please send in your feedback.
We really
appreciate it.
We really appreciate it.
You can send it to my personal account, Dwayne Andrew Kerr, or Subject to Change.
Yeah.
Or Daniel Safra.
Or leewitty29@gmail.com. Feel free.
Fuck's sake. No, we actually do. Yeah, this is our podcast.
Go on, sorry.
Fuck's sake. Feedback. Hey, this is to my personal page. Hey, just want to say, I've been really enjoying the podcast and the insights into relationship scenarios. I also really enjoy the episode on why your ex is your ex. I relate a lot to what you and Dan said, and it's refreshing hearing men's point of view when it comes to the world of dating. Guys generally don't speak enough about it, so it's cool to hear your perspective and how you navigate it. Keep openly talking about relationships because it's tough out there. Keep up the good work.
Trendsetters, mate. There we go.
Not really trendsetters.
Well,
but we're setters.
We'll just go with it.
Okay, yeah,
trendsetters, mate. Trendsetters.
No. But yeah, that was a lovely little feedback. So if you're listening to this and you've made it into the first about 7 minutes of the podcast, please do send your feedback.
Yeah.
We'll be happy to hear it. Whether we take it on board, that is another question.
Yeah, exactly.
But we might do. If we think it's going to be beneficial to
Appreciate
us.
all feedback, voice notes, stories, funny scenarios, issues you're going through. We can talk about it, take the piss, and maybe give some insight.
And get us on all those social media platforms. We got all of them. We got the TikTok. We've got the Instagram.
YouTube.
We've got the Facebook. We've got the old YouTube.
I feel like we need to upload more. Are these uploading? We need to upload more snippets to YouTube, I think.
They're on YouTube.
Oh, wait, okay.
And we're on Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple Podcast.
Wow, I'm a great social media manager
Yeah.
to know that.
Yeah. But yeah, what are we talking about today, Daniel?
Let me just pull out the old Bible topic.
'Cause the man them had a list.
Okay, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was the issue of the importance of matching sex drives in a relationship.
Matching sex drive in a relationship. Okay.
So, what's your thoughts on that, first of all?
I love the fact my voice went deeper once we started talking about matching sexual. So was the question matching sex
drives in a relationship.
In a relationship.
What's your first initial things that come to mind? The importance, or what's your
matching sex drives. I think it is.
I can just hear you chewing in your mouth, and I can hear all this noise.
I think it's I don't think there's actually a need to have an equal. Are we talking about equal levels of sex drive? I don't think it's that important to have an equal level of sex drive. I think you'll be very, very, very lucky to find someone that's always going to be on your same level. Oh, thank you. And also, I do think when it comes to that, I think sex drive is not like a... It goes up and down, obviously. It's not like a set level. It's like, oh yeah, she's always up for it, or he always is up for it. I think it does vary, and I think one partner may at one stage throughout the relationship in maybe a 3 or 4 month period have a really high sex drive, and the other one won't. And it comes down to where that person within the relationship is at that time in their life. So they could be having a shit time in work, and their sex drive just won't be high. They could be having a great time in work, and their sex drive could be high. They could just be having a rotten life where they don't feel what they're doing is benefiting them and the relationship, and that might have another impact on the sex drive. So I think because the sex drive, the term sex drive can be quite fluid and it goes up and down, I don't think the level of sex drive needs to be a mass concern. Obviously, you want to be with someone that enjoys having sex and just doesn't do it because they feel like they're supposed to. But I don't think having an equal level sex drive is that big of a deal.
I think it's really important, right? Because I think that we're not talking about ups and downs because of situations in your life. I mean, generally, if you're with someone who has a low libido than you, and you can pick that up off someone quite often, you can pick that up quite easily because you can get into a relationship with someone, they can very much be openly, I have a low libido. I know that about myself coming into the relationship.
Yeah.
I think it's a big issue that maybe a lot of people don't talk about, because quite often the person with the lower libido basically has final veto power. They're basically going to decide when and when you can't have sex.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, the big issue with that is not only do they have the final say, but they expect you to be okay with it. Be okay with the fact you're not going to have as much sex as you like, and be completely monogamous at the same time. Which is where I think a big issue is created, and a lot of relationships can become quite stale. And I think there's 3 main things that you need to be compatible with someone. You need to be stimulated physically, mentally, intellectually, and emotionally. There's fourth thing? Physically, mentally, and emotionally. And without the physical aspect, I don't think if it's not matched, I think you'll either stay in the relationship because you're just content. I think you'll just stay in a relationship, become content and become bored if you don't have a matched libido. So I think it is extremely important. And coming from a relationship where the libido wasn't matched, after a period of time, it became a really big issue.
Do you think they need to be matched though?
Well, if you've got quite a high libido and you're with someone with quite a low libido, it can become quite a problem.
Are you talking extremities though?
I'm just saying, if you consider yourself to someone who... if you consider yourself someone who has a high libido and you're with someone who considers themselves to have a low libido, I don't think you can be matched enough to date long term.
Okay.
And I think eventually you'll either stick with it or you'll just break up with them. You'll stick with it because you're comfortable, or you'll break up with them. But I think loads of people, they stick with it because quite often what happens, you get into a relationship and you go through that like honeymoon period where you're like, oh, we're kind of like working on all these issues, we're trying to see what molds together, and then by the time you've been in that 6 months, you're like, we'll keep going a bit longer. It's been a year and a half now, and now it's just like, we'll just like stick it out. And so many people get so comfortable and don't talk about it, because when you talk about those issues, it makes it real. And I know I didn't for ages. I didn't want to tell anyone about that because it was like, if I speak about it, I bring it into existence. If I bring it into existence, it's a situation I have to deal with.
Yeah.
So I think it's a huge thing and it's a very fair thing. If you want to break up with someone because you're not getting your end away enough and you feel like it's not going to be matched, then that is completely fair enough.
100%.
You need to be satiated and satisfied in a relationship. So, yeah.
It almost touches in, because there's a lot of people that think that like monogamy is the only option in the dating world, and obviously now we're coming to an age where people are more openly admitting that they're interested in open relationships or interested in polygamy, and that kind of comes into play with people in relationships as well, where they've maybe got into a relationship with someone and it gets to the point where both parties may realize that, look, their libidos aren't matched, or their sex drive isn't matched, or their sex appetite isn't matched, and then they may come to the decision like, I know like we're great for each other and we're a great match and everything else is perfect, and then they may open up the door to potentially like bringing someone else in that may spice it up, because there could be many reasons, because someone could have like a high sex drive or a high libido when you first meet them. Like that could be legit. Like
quite often you're in the honeymoon period. So
not necessarily. Things happen, but if we're gonna talk like actual dating world and like reality, you're like making it very ones and zeros. Like you have a high libido and then you don't. Like if you have to look at it from a holistic point of view, because dating and emotions and sex and relationship aren't just like black and white. So you have to think you could end up in a relationship with someone who has a fucking really high libido, high sex drive, always want to fucking, this could be going on for a while, but there could be so many things that could happen within the relationship that may force them. You might do something that just completely turns them off you, and then now their libido and their sex drive to have sex with you might not be as high as it once was. It could be that, as I said before, it could be something in their own personal life, with work, whatever. So I think the conversation and actually understanding why that person's libido may be low, I think is so important. For example, if you said with your ex she had a lower libido than you, was the conversation ever had as to why you weren't having sex as often as before?
Yeah, I mean,
also you probably got to a stage where you probably weren't even into her as much, and she could probably sense that. And in her head she's probably thinking, well, I feel like he's not even into me as much anymore. Why am I gonna like push my body onto him when he's probably like already checked out? You know what I mean? So like the sense that you may think your ex had a lower libido than you might not even be that true. It could have just got to a stage in the relationship where she probably just wasn't feeling it.
I think it was something that was mentioned quite early on though, early doors.
With her, that she didn't have one. Well, then that's your situation, but I think in others that might not be the case. Because I've definitely dated girls where like the amount of times we were having sex probably dwindled. And it wasn't because the drive had gone down, it's just probably because I just wasn't as into her anymore. Or vice versa, she wasn't into me anymore.
Yeah,
and it just kind of like, you think, oh, they don't really want to have sex anymore or whatever. But like, they probably do, just not with you. Or if they do, it's like one time at night or one time in the morning whenever you're hormones at root, but midday stuff, like, you know, like what, like, just wasn't happening. But that just goes, it just all, I think, comes down to scenario and where the mindset and the headspace is at the time.
It's a really weird feeling when, like, when your relationship, you come to this, like, point where you have a feeling it's coming to an end, or you're on, like, the back end of your relationship where things aren't working, and you kind of, like, I'm sure we've all been there, you kind of, like you're saying, you put off sex, you don't really want to have sex anymore, and it's a weird scenario to be in, because every time the opportunity does come up and you turn it down, you're, like, self-confirming that you shouldn't be with them.
Yeah.
But yet, maybe at the point you haven't vocalized out loud that you're not going to be with them.
Yeah.
It's a weird, like, situation to be in, because there's so much just, like, internal thought in that moment that it's really, you can't really vocalize it, you know?
It's one of those ones where it doesn't really become real until you say it out loud.
Yeah.
Either to, like, a friend or a therapist, or just, or even if you journal by chance, even if you write it down, it doesn't become real until you take it from your mind and put it out into the real world in some shape or form. Because then now it becomes like you almost feel like accountable to yourself and the person, because now you've it's left your mind, it's left your conscience, and gone out into the sphere of life. So I think, yeah, I do think the sex drive thing, yeah, it's good to be on the same level, but we also have to look into why in a relationship it may not be, and maybe one party may be more into having sex at the time than the other.
Not a fan of super early morning sex. Not a fan.
No, I'm too tired.
I'm not a morning person at all. I want a coffee. When, like, so, you know, you meet some people and they wake up and they're, like, sprightly the moment they wake up.
Yeah, I'm like, calm down.
It's hectic.
Yeah, I need to at least wash my face and drink some water.
Oh, it's horrible, man. And you
teeth.
can tell if someone's, like, a morning person, because if you've had, like, someone, like, stay over, you can tell when you, like, wake up a little bit, they're already on their phone. What they're doing, I'm like, fuck, that's too much for me, man. I've just woken up. Or they're already trying to have a conversation with you. I'm like, fuck off. Leave me the fuck alone.
Any of the gal them that Dan knows, if you've been doing this, stop
yeah, it's
it.
like I wake up a bit and then I close my eyes a bit and they're already there, like, oh, so, and I'm like, nah, I just turn around, like, I'm going back to sleep for a bit. It's 6:30 in the morning, you can piss off.
Oh, that is funny. Do you think you need to be in love to make love? I wanna make love in this club.
I think when we first spoke about this, I was like, oh, I didn't really get it.
What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, so I called him up straight away and I went his story. I was like, man, what the fuck are you on about? Absolutely not. Just you shag whoever you want. And then I sat with it a little bit and I was like, I think what you meant by the question is, can you have the same passionate sex as you can with just like a one night stand with not the same chemistry?
That doesn't have to be a one night stand.
Or like a one night stand. What?
I can't imagine making love with a one night stand.
Well, what I took away from it is, fuck, I've just had an absolute brain freeze, because we spoke about this yesterday in Salties.
You can sit in silence and think. You don't need to talk.
Well, what I was going to say is, what was it I said yesterday in Salties?
You pretty much describe what your version of making love is.
Yeah, I think my version of making love would be like where you're just very fluid and there's so much passion and like connectivity. Ooh. If that's a word.
Obviously, the word connectivity is a word.
Is that a word? Connectivity?
Oh my god!
Is connectivity a word?
I feel like I just made that up. To this, we are actually intelligent humans. The fact Dan didn't realize the word connectivity. Connectivity is a word. Don't Google it.
Oh, okay. All right, okay.
Oh my lord!
And so there's so much like connectivity. I feel like that would be my version of like making love. Like you can have sex where it's like you're just like a proper screw. Just that. But the actual like passion side of it, I think that would be what I would deem making love, I guess. But can you do that without being in love? Yeah, I guess so. It just depends on like the connection you have with that person.
Yeah.
How many different levels do you like get along with them? Is it purely physical? Is there like, an emotional connection? Is there an intellectual connection? Is there like, chemistry when you're sitting across at the bar? Like so many different, do you know what I mean? Bars.
Yeah. We'll see what it sounds like in post. If it actually is bars, if you just chat shit. Yeah, I agree.
Bite the pillow.
And based on a lot of response, most people agreed, but they all had their different versions of what it means to make love. For me, yeah, it's pretty much in this club. It's pretty much that where I think people mistake the term making love for like the idea of being in love, but the term was just made to kind of describe a feeling that you have between yourself and the other person in the bedroom. I think the term making love, because you're gonna have to differentiate between just sex and then sex that you have with someone where there's more than just the physical. And I think that was what that's why the term making love was created. So I don't think you need to be in love. I think things like you said, connectivity, being completely comfortable with the person, vulnerability, being lost in the moment that you are with them in the bedroom. I think being aware of everything about them in the bedroom, whether that's like their breath or their taste or their touch. I think all the sensual aspects of what it means to quote unquote make love with someone. I think when you're completely aware of that, when both parties are aware of that, I think that's when I would consider it to be making love. And I said this to someone the other day. I was like, imagine most people believe that in order to make love you have to be in love. Not many people would be making love out in these streets, because half of y'all in relationships aren't even in love with your partner. You're lying to yourself. I can see it when you're sitting beside her and him. You're just sad and comfortable. But
He's
anyway,
got that wandering eye.
Yeah.
You know who you are.
Yeah, you know if you're listening.
You know who you are.
Even if we don't know you and you think it's you.
Yeah, you know it's you. Yeah.
If you don't think it's you, then it's not you. But if you kind of think it's you, then it is you.
If you don't think it's you, then your partner probably does.
Yeah. But so it'd be a very, very sad world if people thought that you had to be in love to make love. But yeah, a few people said some really good ones. And,
let's hear the bars.
So one person said, which is what I just said, making love feels more like a term for intimate, sensual kind of sex, which is fair.
That's a good way to phrase it.
This person said, which I found quite interesting at the end of this, absolutely not. You can still have amazing sex with absolutely no feelings, but make love with that special connection. I think you have... Let me get this closer. I think you can have insanely good and crazy sex without any emotional connection, because you can. That thrill and excitement / chemistry is there. You don't need feelings or even need to know the person for that. You just need both parties to be comfortable and secure in their bodies / with what they're doing. To make love, like deep and meaningful sex where you almost want to cry because it feels so beautiful, yes, you 100% have to have feelings. So I was just like, ooh, that's a good point. That is a very, very good point.
Makes such strong love you start crying.
Yeah.
Have you been there before?
I've never cried, no.
I've never cried. That was so beautiful. But it's been 60 seconds.
Someone also, where was it? Yeah, someone said, one is slow emotional sex, not necessarily in love, but based on respect and mutual attraction. So yes, you can do it without being in love. The second, I think this is the one I really like. The second is when you're actually in love and you say, I love you, and mean it and actually feel that love during sex. It's like your heart is so full and you are ecstatic, happy, and you feel like you could die happy in that moment, or that you want to become one with that person, just like melt into them. So that's not possible without being in love. And I actually made the point, I was just like, yeah, you don't need to be in love to make love, but imagine being in love and making love. Like, what? Because obviously you can make love, not be in love, and it'd be unreal. But then I said to them, I understand that, because I imagine if you're in love and then making love with that person, like that whole experience would be probably very euphoric.
How I think of it is like, like it's very slow and very slow, passionate. Yeah, that's how I kind of see it in my mind.
Does it have to be slow though?
I was just thinking, I've been with someone before.
Just one?
I'll just leave it there. I've had sex before. No, I promise. I've been with a couple of people before where they've just wanted to go like speed 1,000.
Sounds horrible.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Just a notice out there for anyone listening, right? Women out there who are using a dildo Megatron 3000, we can't compete.
Yeah, we can.
We
Just
cannot
won't last.
compete.
Yeah.
I'm not a fucking Duracell battery. I cannot go like that for 45 minutes. Jesus Christ.
You need to get your cardio up.
Mate, it's just, I can't do it. It's not fun. I can't do it. Let's change it up. I don't mind a little bit of that, but let's change the pace, the tone, what we're doing. But honestly, someone who just wants that for, I can't
Who
do
are these
it.
women you're sleeping with? I hope they
Mate.
don't listen to this because they'll be like, why is he talking about me on his podcast?
It's like, what are they using at home to expect that I can do that?
I don't know what people enjoy. I have one of the lads, don't really hang out as much anymore, but he was telling me he was seeing a girl, and like that's all she wanted. Like just going.
Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Fuck, I didn't even see that. I was like, where did that just... Fucking Jesus.
Yeah, he said she just wanted to go like 100 the whole time. Like, mate, that sounds horrendous.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. I remember once I was like, we were having sex and we were in doggy and I had a bottle of water on my shelf and they couldn't see. But I was like, getting it off. And I'm there and I'm like, I'm not enjoying this.
Oh my
at all.
goodness.
Oh, fucking.
I'm just picturing you absolutely sweating in your room.
They turn around.
Very
You're having a good
uncomfortable
time. I'm
feeling.
like, yeah, fucking great time. And the moment they turn around, oh, fuck it. I'm like, mate, I cannot do that. It's horrible. It's
Oh
not
my
fun.
God.
Please stop it. Understand, we're not like your dildo at home. We're human beings, right? We're human beings. We're not built on batteries. We need food and fuel and all these different things.
I have another one.
Yeah, go on.
This will be like a nice little part of it as well. Someone says, depends what your definition of love is, and one party can be and the other one not, but it's still making love, quote unquote making love, in one person's eyes. So I repeat that. Depends on what your definition of in love is, and one party can be and the other one not, but it's still making love in one person's eyes. So I said, would you consider it making love if only one person is thinking that they're making love? And she said, personally, yes, because I've been that person, but I've also been on the other end, and it's still intense. But mentally, I wasn't, quote unquote, there.
So can it be just based on one person? I think so. It's a very
so if one person's making love and the other one
yeah,
isn't.
I think so. Because some person can have because of the date they've had, we connect on all these levels. For them, they find it a lot more passionate. Where for someone else, it's just a route for them. So yeah, I think definitely it can be based on that one person. I potentially think it's not as common.
Yeah.
Because I think you can feel the energy of that person, the vibe of that person. I don't think it's impossible, but yeah, I think it's more probable that if you're both feeling it. Yeah.
Did you ask any of your gal them if you made love?
Yeah, midway I'm like, are we making love? Fuck,
you quit finishing your water.
Sorry.
Just for the sake of the...
Talking about that, I remember that one time, literally 5 minutes after, they turned to me, they're like, you ready to go again? I'm like, yeah, yes, sweet, no worry.
I feel like I know who this is.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You have something else that you want to talk about today?
Yeah, I do actually. So, the big topic are the double texts. So many people fucking hate it. So many people don't do it.
Yeah.
The whole double texting a chick. And I'm all for it, right? There's a multitude of reasons I'm about the double text.
Of course you are.
Because in my mind, right, someone can miss a text, someone can open a message, and loads of us, this is what I don't do, is I don't usually open a message until I'm ready to reply, because I know I'll forget to reply. So I've never done, I never really do that. I'll always just leave it unread.
Yeah.
So many people, they'll read a message and then forget to reply, and that's fine. And so many guys I speak to, I fucking sent her a message, she didn't reply. I'm like, we'll just send her a message again. They're like, nah, fuck that. I don't look keen, or I don't want to look like that. And I'm like, you're basing your actions on that other person's perspective.
Yeah.
That's a completely egocentric decision. In my mind, if I send them a second text, that's now not an accident, that's on purpose. And for me, I can now qualify them out.
Okay.
And why I think that's really beneficial is because when I've sent them the first text and there's no response, they're living rent-free in my mind about that situation. Am I going to meet them? Are they going to mess me back? But as soon as I send a second text, if they don't respond, I give up. I do not give a fuck anymore. I understand that it's probably on purpose. They're not keen. I completely move on.
Have you ever triple text?
I did.
Ding, ding, motherfucker, me again!
Only one person, Abby Chatfield. If you're listening, I slid into her DMs as a joke, like 6 times, and I bumped into her though. We had a chat, and then sent her a message straight away after.
She didn't respond
and
again.
she didn't even open the message.
She's probably got hundreds of thousands of.
I thought my initial sliding was actually pretty funny. She put up this thing.
No one cares.
Well, they might find it funny. Well, she put up this thing on a Insta, being like, "Oh, fucking hell." No.
Okay.
I slid in off of that as well. But I was like, "Oh, take me for a drink first." But she was like, "Oh, internet." So anyone who doesn't know what Abby Chatfield is, she was like on The Bachelorette. No, sorry, she was on Bachelor. She was one of the female contestants.
She got quite far as well.
Yeah, and she's got like 350,000 followers. She's got a podcast. You know, she's like an influencer. Anyway, she put up this thing on her story being like, "Oh, the fucking internet is so shit in Bondi." I was like, "Oh, ours is pretty good. Feel free to come hotspot." Oh, well, that's pretty funny. It's pretty good. Slid that in. Didn't open it. No response. The next day, Wi-Fi's a bit dodgy today. It might not be a good day to do it. And then I forgot what I said after that. Anyway, I then met her a couple of weeks later, just outside of this house. She was leaving Dwayne's. Yeah, we had a chat and great time. And she
People believe that.
Yeah, just fucking hobbling out of it. And
Me just standing at the door with no top on, just waving.
Yeah.
That's the guy I was telling you about in the podcast. he'll walk you home.
My mate bumped in. My mate saw her at the gym, and he came in the house, and he was like, "Oh, mate, Abby Chatfield was in the well." I was like, "Fuck off, is she really?" And he was like, "Yeah, mate, I don't know what it is. I overheard her having this conversation with someone about some English lad she bumped into at a podcast." I was like, "What? Are you being serious?" He's like, "That was you, right?" I was like, "Yeah, on Bondi Road." He's like, "Yeah, mate, she was that you on Bondi Road? You bumped into someone at the podcast?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Nah, I shouldn't actually say that." I was like, "Mate, I was ready to run in that gym."
Shout out to Alex.
Her and Comrade finish it, and we just, dip
Sail
off into the sunset,
Yeah. Dip off into the sunset.
But
Not even swim, dip.
Yeah, exactly. Dip
Just
off.
dip
But no, in general, I think the double text is fine, because in my mind, you double text them, and if they don't respond, at least you know confidently you can qualify that person out and then just move on.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the double text. And also, I think people have an issue with it because they're like, "Nah, you're going to come across keen." I'm like, and? What's the worst case scenario if I come across keen? If that person doesn't like the fact I'm keen on going on a date with them, they're probably not someone I'm going to get along with, and it's probably better that I disqualify them now.
Disqualify. Like they've lost out.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I work in sales,
they
so
have
like
lost
disqualifying qualifies is the terminologies we would use in sales. But, and it's like, if you being yourself is going to be a turn off for them, so because of that, you have to be someone else. You're not going to be able to sustain that moving forward. So you might as well be yourself from the get-go. And if they're not into you, they're not going to be into you. I'm all for the double text. And if they don't get back to you after that, then fuck them off and just move on. At least you know they're not into you. Once is a mistake, twice is on purpose. Go for the double text. And it's worked for me loads of times.
Yeah,
like, loads of times.
Probably felt obligated.
Also, it's like, you're confident enough where it's like, I don't give a fuck what you think about me. I don't care what you think about me. And if you go away to your mates, "Oh my God, he double texted. Oh my God, look at that." If that's the kind of conversation you're having, I, again, don't give a fuck. So why would it matter if I double text you? You know what I mean?
Has something happened recently that's triggered this this topic? Do you want to talk about it?
No, we were just at Salty's talking about it. I was with Jack, and I was like, I actually really want to talk about this because I think it's such a big thing that I find so big that so many lads are like, "Nah, don't double text." I'm like, why? Who cares if you fucking double text him? No, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I would. Would I double text?
Worst case scenario, they're either going to go, A, "Oh my God, fucking hell on my phone, I'm an absolute shit fuck, yeah, cool, let's go for drinks next week." Or B, they still don't respond. All right, cool, they're definitely not interested, move on.
Yeah, I don't double text. Not because I don't want to, I just don't feel the need to. Like, I'm never in, I haven't been in a position where I've, like, been that keen and she hasn't, like, responded after the first mention. And if she doesn't respond, then I just leave it because... Yeah, she's obviously just not interested. Which is the 21st century, everyone always has their phone on them.
Nah, sorry. If some people are saying that the first message they don't respond, they're not interested. If people are saying they've never forgot to reply to a message, they haven't seen a message, their phone is on, they're fucking chatting shit. It happens to absolutely everyone.
That's what I mean.
So I'm like, they can just honestly miss your first message. That can be completely accidental. It can be.
Yeah, but in
you
my
can
but in
completely
my head,
forget
but in my
to reply.
head, if I'm chatting to a girl that I like and she messages me, I never forget to reply. Or if I meet a girl at a party and we exchange like Instagrams or whatever, if she was to message me, I wouldn't forget to reply because I'd be like, yeah, I'm keen.
Yeah, but at that point, they might not have as much buy-in into the situation as you do at that point. So at that point, they're having a really nice chat. They've got back-to-back meetings all day. They open it. They're about to respond. They get pulled into another meeting. Their mum calls them. You've now dropped down a few messages and they've completely forgotten. Like, it can happen.
Yeah.
Like, it definitely can happen. So that's why I'm saying the worst case, if you are interested and you're only not double texting them because you think for some reason your ego's getting in the way, you're like, nah, I
It's not
shouldn't
my
do
ego.
it.
It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, she forgot. If she's not replied, then she's
If you
probably not
genuinely don't
interested.
care, then fair enough.
I
But if
just
it's
don't
based
care.
on a decision about,
Nah,
you know,
if I actually cared, I might double text.
Yeah.
But like in general, now I wouldn't say double text. Watch some girl like screenshot and send me receipts of me double texting now.
also don't base any of your decisions on what other people are going to say about you and your ego. Like, nothing will ever get done
Yeah, fuck
if
what other
you
people
lead
think.
with giving a fuck what other people think about you. Because quite often, those people are just too scared to do the things that you really want to do. So fuck them anyway.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people out there don't do shit they want to do with the fear that people are going to say shit. And
Yeah.
then they just fucking sit in a very, very boring, mundane, normal, dead life.
Other people's opinions of you are none of your business.
Exactly. And even if, just don't care for it.
Is it?
To be
Right.
fair.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a negative one. You can give me the positive ones. The negative ones, you just can get fucked.
Fuck it.
But, yeah, the double texting thing, not against it. Just not a massive double text. So I'll message once, if they don't respond, fair. If they respond in a week, I'll reply. But yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, if they miss it, they miss it. What's for me will not go past me, whatever that fucking saying is. I can't remember. But yeah, what's for you will not like miss you. So if they don't respond, then I'll just move on.
Fair.
I mean, if it's my girlfriend, I'll double text. Be like, yo, where are you? But yeah, if it's just a random...
Why she left me on red for 2 months? That's
It's a random bird that I've matched on a dating app, which I'm not on. So if you see me, it's not me. On a dating app, or if it's a girl I met at a party and we're messaging over IG and she doesn't respond, I would just move on very quickly.
I've taken a break from dating apps. Taken like a really big break. Not like I'm disconnecting from social media.
Yeah.
Like, I just have just naturally just kind of like given up.
You know what I think it is with double texting thing is
Go
because
on.
I have like, I think it's just my expectation of people. I'm just like, oh, because in my head, if I'm interested in a girl and she messages me, like I'll respond. Like she won't need to double text. So in my head, I'm like, I would probably expect the same from someone else.
That's just based on like your...
But you're allowed to have expectations.
You are allowed to have
Yeah.
expectations, but if you put that standard across everyone, you
You're
can
allowed
miss
to?
out. You can do that.
Yeah.
I'm saying, of course you can,
Yeah.
but you can miss out on an opportunity where genuinely you might connect with someone.
Then it wasn't for me.
Bar their first mistake. Bar just one mistake.
It wasn't a mistake, just an expectation.
Sorry, I was in back-to-back meetings. But let's say this, right? You met this bird, you clicked or whatever, then you chatted, you messaged a couple of days later to organise a date. She missed the first message. And then the next day you did send another message. She was like, oh my God, fuck, so sorry. Are you free for a drink tonight or tomorrow or next week? And from that, you then organise a drink and meet that person. You end up having a great connection. Would that be such a bad thing to happen?
Don't know.
Like, it wouldn't be. Like, there's no... Like, I don't know. I feel that's all very, like, coming from... It's a very... I think it just comes from a lot of ego. You know, not texting them because of, like, you think that they... Yeah, it's just a lot of ego, I think.
What are you thinking of what?
The fact that they're not texting you back because they're not into you as much as you're into them, or they're not texting you back because they haven't got the same standards as you have it. It could just be a pure, genuine mistake with no intentions, and all you would do, if you are interested, is send one of the texts, and if it doesn't
they'll
happen,
just
it doesn't
scroll
happen.
down and find it. Find the message.
Mate, there's a lot of ego. There's a lot of ego there. That's what I'm saying. In
Why?
my opinion, there's a lot of ego there.
Why?
Because everything you're saying is based on the fact of, like, you know, well, they're clearly not as into me as much. Well,
Not
it's like,
necessarily, but like,
that doesn't mean
but
that.
they could just scroll down if they want to like message someone back. They'll scroll down and find the message.
But I'm saying they could have just completely forgot.
Then you just carry on with your life. Then they'll respond whenever. If they finally find the message.
Look, at the end of the day, it's a personal preference. I don't mind doing it. I know that it's definitely like work for me. It's not like I do it to everyone, but ones I'm like, oh, this could be quite an interesting person to hang out with. I don't mind doing double text just to see, was it a mistake? And then from that, I'm like, yeah, sweet, no worries, just move on. You know? I got no issue with it.
I feel like sometimes it could just be almost like I'll just do it because he's messaged again. Because I find
because at that point, you could easily...
Based on like girls I've talked to, like a lot of girls have like sometimes feel like they can't say no. And they'll feel bad saying no.
It depends how aggressive your fucking message is. Do you know what I mean?
You're going to tell her, what the fuck you doing? Can you reply? But you know
exactly.
What I mean?
But it's like... I think because it can be a mistake the majority of times, sending it isn't an issue.
I don't think it's a mistake the majority of times.
People
who are listening to this, please get into us.
Yeah, I think it can be a mistake.
If a guy messages you
twice,
if a guy messages you once and you read it and don't respond, is that because you genuinely forgotten to respond? And then he messages you again, like what's the vibe? Please get into our DMs.
Pro double text, man.
Yeah. So if you read the message and you don't respond, is that kind of a message? Especially if you don't have any obligation to him. What are you trying to subliminally say you're not interested? Or if you are into the guy, you'll respond and you wouldn't need double text. And if he does double text, do you feel obligated to maybe engage? Let us know. Because this is us speaking. This is you speaking from your male point of view. We need to find out what women think.
If you want something, just go for it.
Yeah, that sounds a bit rapey, but maybe.
With consent. Consensually.
Yeah.
If you want something, go for it. Do you know what I mean? There's probably 100 DMs in each bird's
we can do a poll on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll do a poll next week when the episode's out and see what the feedback is. Because I'm intrigued.
I had another topic, but I think we'll probably save that for another time.
Yeah, we have a good few to talk about. Well...
Have you got before we head off, any interesting book you're reading at the moment you'd like to share with the audience?
No, I'm still working through Ego's the Enemy, which is quite good. Have you finished Attached yet? We don't need to talk about the task, we've talked about it loads, but have you finished it yet?
Yes, I have.
You're the slowest reader I've ever met.
I've completely finished it. No problem at all.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, it's been like 3 months.
I know. I need to. I know. I go through this pattern where
I feel like I've read like 3 books between the stage.
I keep trying to block out half an hour in the morning after like I go for to the gym and then for a dip, and I want to read for a bit. And sometimes I can, sometimes I can't, and like it needs to be like a habitual thing. I just need to start doing it. It needs to be like, this is my routine. It's hard to like get into those kind of routines. Once you break it, it's hard to get back into it without just being like disciplined.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for listening.
Muchos gracias.
If you've made it this far, we thank you very much, and we shall see you again in 2 weeks.
Happy weekend, people.
Bye. It's not the weekend, it's Thursday when this goes out.
Oh, sorry. Happy Thursday.
Or just happy life.
Happy life. Happy
Goodbye.
Life, happy life. Peace and love.
Party, 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 party,